This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us today. Our top story today at noon, Governor Rick Scott visiting Bradenton this morning to announce his new plans to fight opioid abuse in Florida. ABC 7's Erica Jackson joins us live from Bradenton this afternoon. And Erica, what did the governor reveal today?
Good afternoon, Scott. Governor Rick Scott, he has made big plans this year, and he keeps putting more out at what he plans to do in fighting the opioid epidemic. In May, Governor Scott directed it as a statewide public health emergency, and Florida received $27 million in federal grant funding. Then in July, Governor Scott signed a bill in Sarasota County, creating new penalties and enhancing already existing penalties relating to synthetic opioid drugs. Today, the governor announced he is proposing legislation to combat opioid abuse during the next legislative session. Scott wants to place a 3-day limit on prescribed opioids, but some patients can still receive a 7-day supply under strict conditions. Scott also wants to require all healthcare professionals to use the Florida Prescription Drug Monitoring Program that helps healthcare workers before prescribing drugs to patients. The legislation will also include reforms to fight unlicensed pain management clinics and education courses and create new opportunities for federal grant funding. Scott is also proposing for the state to invest $50 million to fight opioid abuse. Governor Scott believes this plan will help law enforcement focus on fighting other crimes and keeping the community safe.
Often what happens is who actually deals with the drug abuse is our law enforcement. And so, that's not their primary job, is to deal with the drug issue in our country, but they do. And so we're going to make a big investment in the Florida Violent Crime and Drug Control Council, which will help our local law enforcement.
And Governor Scott says he is so focused on battling the opioid epidemic because his family was directly impacted by opioid abuse, and he says that he believes every single person in Florida knows someone that has been affected by the opioid epidemic, which is why he's proposing that $50 million to go towards combating opioid abuse. Reporting live in Bradenton, Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Erica, thank you. There's also a report out today from the Enhanced Recovery After Surgery program, which shows painkillers prescribed for routine surgeries are putting women especially at risk. ABC's Robin Roberts explains how.
The report revealing that women are most at risk when it comes to opioids. 30% more prescriptions written for women than for men. 40% more female surgery patients become persistent users, like 39-year-old Christina Cruz Miller, mother of 3 daughters.
I did exactly what they said. I followed up with my doctor. I trusted him.
Christina says she was prescribed OxyContin after having a procedure to remove cysts from her ovaries and had never even heard of the drug before, but became addicted to prescription pills for 3.5 years, overdosing twice before beginning her road to recovery.
I hated what I was, and I was embarrassed and ashamed and was content that my family would be better off without me.
That new report, funded by pharmacological company Pacira and conducted by Quintiles IMS, called United States for Non-Dependence, an analysis of the impact of opioid overprescribing in America, finds patients undergoing 7 common surgeries are often being prescribed far more pills than they need.
What's startling and really bothersome in this study is the number of patients that are on opioids well after the surgery's been completed.
The study concluding 3 million patients continue taking them 3 months or longer after surgery. And Christina is not alone. 11.7 billion opioid painkillers like OxyContin and Vicodin were prescribed in 2016. If you laid them down end to end, they would crisscross the country 50 times.
More people die from opioid prescription overdose than from heroin overdose per year.
That's Robin Roberts reporting. In other news today, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is investigating a body that washed ashore in Englewood. Beachgoers found the man's body Monday evening along North Manasota Key Road. Sheriff's investigators say it's either a white or Hispanic male between 35 and 55 years old. When his body was found, he was wearing only shorts and a backpack.
It's absolutely horrible. I think it's insanity. you know. I mean, how often does something like that happen?
Initial reaction is scared. I wouldn't want to have that. We're on these beaches all the time, so it's scary.
Detectives are currently working on identifying the man and then notifying family members. Now to a traffic reminder, there will no longer be left turns nor cross traffic permitted off US 301 onto 38th Avenue East. The signal there will be deactivated and eventually removed, and the median extended across the existing intersection. Drivers will be able to use the newly opened 44th Avenue East as an alternative, or other existing roads. Let's get a check on our first alert weather right now with meteorologist John Scalzi, and another hot, warm day, but no clouds around so far. I didn't see many.
I see a lot of people around with like red foreheads and necks right now, because the sun is, you know, it's pretty much unobscured for most of the day, you know, and it's still high enough in the sky that we get a fair amount of UV rays down here. So I know a lot of people heading to the beach or whatever. Be careful out there. It's a great beach day, but still, you can get burned pretty quickly.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that. Yeah, a lot of dry air in place, giving us a lot of blue skies and some very pleasant weather. As we head into the afternoon, I think we'll see more and more of that lovely weather, warm temperatures, daytime highs topping out very close to the 90-degree mark. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of rainfall around. Drier air has filtered in. We still have Maria spinning around out in the Atlantic, and we have a trough of low pressure approaching from the west. All of these things kind of adding up together with a few extra little ingredients to bring us some very pleasant but benign weather across the Sun Coast. We do have a chance of seeing some thunderstorms and showers down in the southern tip of the state, also over on the other coast. But our rain chances are maybe 10%, if that. That might be generous, actually. As we head into the afternoon, expect those high temperatures to top out near 90. We'll have the complete forecast for you coming up in a few. Back to you, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Nova Southeastern University is planning to develop a new 27-acre campus in Clearwater following a $200 million commitment. The extension of the Fort Lauderdale-based school will be a medical education complex that will be part of a new Tampa Bay regional campus. The former site of the now closed Clearwater Christian College will house NSU's College of Osteopathic Medicine as well as its existing programs. The new site will increase the number of NSU's graduating osteopathic physicians to nearly 400 a year. Tomorrow is Florida's first ever Dads Take Your Child to School Day. Dads are getting free breakfast in Manatee County schools. Florida wants all of its public elementary schools to encourage fathers to be more involved in their child's education. So this month, the state is sponsoring Dads Take Your Child to School Day. The goal is for fathers or other significant male figures in their child's life to take their kids to school and then learn a little bit more about how important they are to a child's academic success. All father figures are welcome, including stepfathers, grandfathers, uncles, brothers, foster fathers, and any other significant male role models in your child's life. Still to come in your Suncoast News, a new diet trend that some believe could revolutionize your body and your mind. Also, Governor Scott deleting voicemails from a nursing home where 11 people died, what he's now saying to defend himself.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve. Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will make a difference in my community.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams, I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com. AndServices.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com, AndServices.com.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Very nice start to the day. Tower cam showing blue skies out there and not much in the way of any kind of cloud cover. It's going to be a lovely afternoon, I think. Notice the crisp shadows out there on the pavement. That's an indication of a very, very pure sky due to a lot of dry air aloft. Taking a look at current temperatures across the region, well, they're pretty nice, actually. 82-degree air temperature, dew point coming in at 73. That gives a nice spread between temperature and dew point and a relative humidity of 74. Got a little bit of fair weather cloudiness in places, but for a large portion of the viewers, you're going to see blue sky out there. 88 degrees in Wauchula, 87 in Arcadia, Myakka, 86 in Parrish, 82 in Bradenton and Sarasota, 86 degrees in Venice, Northport coming in at 86, 87 in Punta Gorda, 86 in Boca Grande. So we're looking at very pleasant conditions across much of the west right now, just a little on the warm side. Center part of the country has some showers and some thunderstorms and some heavy rains in periods in through Texas, up through Oklahoma, and then again in the northern tier. And then we have Maria. Still spinning around out in the Atlantic waters, slinging back some of its rainfall along the near coastal waters of the Outer Banks. Nothing really terribly heavy here, but certainly some persistent on and off showers and some fairly gusty winds as well. Then for the state of Florida, some drier air having filtered in kind of reduces the rainfall chance over most of the state till you get into the very southern tip where there are a few scattered thunderstorms ongoing. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot around here today. You know, we saw a few yesterday, a few scattered showers, and maybe we'll see one or two build in inland areas a little bit later on today. But the rain chance is pretty small at about 10%, and it will carry on being small, I think, for the next several days. We have some drier air that has moved in and solidly ensconced itself across the state. We have an upper level low that's spinning around as well. That's helping to draw up some of this drier air. Plus, we have some substance, which is sinking air around the periphery of our tropical system, and that helps to also draw down some drier air. So the combination of those factors bringing us some pretty quiet conditions across the entire Florida Peninsula. It's just not a lot of available energy to work with in the atmosphere. The energy is from the sun and from water, and when you're lacking 50% of those ingredients, you just don't get much weather, and we just don't have a lot of water to work with in our atmosphere right now. Maria continues to spin around, kind of opening up and expanding. Half of its eye is exposed right now, and I think as we head into the afternoon, it'll be a little bit breezy, and you'll get some pretty good wave action along the Outer Banks, but nothing terribly strong, I don't think. A few fewer than average storms around for us today, a warm afternoon, and then mostly sunny skies across the region. Again, we put the Futurecast into motion, and you'll see, maybe a few showers around in inland areas, but I think on balance, you're just not looking at a lot of rainfall today or tomorrow. Two systems we watch, Maria and Lee. We will detail those for you in just a few minutes as we go into the next half hour. But for boaters today, a west wind at about 10 knots should make for decent boating conditions. Expect just a light chop. And the forecast over the next several days calls for dry conditions, sunny conditions, warm as well in the afternoon. And then as we head into the weekend, we'll up the rain chances just a little bit. We'll add in a few more clouds, so we'll lower our temperatures a couple of degrees as well. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. The latest Republican-led health care plan might not be dead, but its pulse is not strong. Support for the Graham-Cassidy bill is fading in Washington. John Lawrence has details as the clock ticks for the GOP.
Republicans are scrambling to win support for a new version of a bill to repeal and replace Obamacare.
This is not a game.
But things don't look healthy for the bill from Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy. Among the strikes Democrats are counting against it, a negative report from Standard & Poor's on the bill's expected impacts.
Would result in 580,000 lost jobs and $240 billion in lost economic activity by 2027.
And a lack of support from some prominent members of the GOP. Maine Senator Susan Collins says she'll vote against the bill despite phone calls from both President Trump and Vice President Pence in recent days.
I appreciated their input. It's just at the end, I can't support this bill.
Collins is the third Republican senator to reject Graham-Cassidy after John McCain and Rand Paul. The measure won't pass the Senate if every Democrat and 3 Republicans vote against it.
What the American people want is us to work together to build on and improve the Affordable Care Act, not repeal it.
During a CNN debate Monday night, Graham said he still stands by the bill he co-sponsored.
We're going to press on, and it's okay to vote. It's okay to fall short, if you do, for an idea you believe in.
The GOP has until the end of the week to push the bill through before it would risk needing 60% of the Senate's votes to pass. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now to a new diet trend that some believe could revolutionize your body and your mind. It's all about going with your gut and using food to control your weight, your mood, and more. It turns out your small intestine is smarter than you think. Author of The Clever Gut Diet, Dr. Michael Mosley, says what you feed your gut can boost your mood, control weight, and help your immune system. The diet compares your gut to a garden. Prebiotics and fiber in foods act as fertilizer to a crop of 20 trillion bacteria.
The number of microbes down there and the sort of shape they are in largely depends on what you eat and what you drink, because everything which your body doesn't digest feeds them.
He also says most Americans have ruined their gut with junk food and excess antibiotics, but early science is looking at how a change in diet may be able to reprogram your physical and psychological well-being. A woman is facing charges after leaving a child in a hot car. The incident happened at one of the Disney resorts in Orlando. Troy Campbell shows us what happened.
We were out there, we were in the parks, and it was really hot.
Tourists at Walt Disney World Resort describing the warm temperatures they experienced while enjoying the parks this afternoon. News 6 forecasting temperatures in the low 90s near the attractions today. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says just after 1 o'clock this afternoon, Disney security guards found the 2-year-old girl in a car in the staff parking lot of the Grand Floridian, saying the vehicle was not running. The doors were unlocked and the windows were down a few inches. Deputies later arresting 37-year-old Miriam Lubin Cadet on a felony charge of child neglect.
You don't leave a kid in a car. I don't care how hot it is. Even with the engine running and the air conditioning on, you shouldn't leave a kid in the car.
Deputies say the child's rescuers were able to prevent her from being severely harmed, adding, due to the fast response of the security department at Walt Disney, the 2-year-old female was successfully transported to the nearest hospital.
We had our 2 little granddaughters, so, we couldn't give them enough water and those kind of things to make sure they were hydrated. So when you tell us that somebody's in a car, one of the children, that's dangerous.
That's Troy Campbell reporting from Orlando. The girl is in stable condition. Lubin Cadet was taken to the Orange County Jail. Time now to get over to the kitchen and check in for the first time with Chef Eddie Izeri, who's here from Apollonia Mediterranean Grill. Eddie, what's on the menu for today?
Hi, Scott. Today I'll be doing a pasta dish. It's one of my favorites, which is with chicken and basil pesto.
Sounds great. See you in a little bit, Chef.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Why settle for less? Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru is the best overall brand for 2 years running and the most trusted brand for 3 years running, according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. Right now, you can lease one of Subaru's most versatile vehicles, the Subaru Crosstrek, for as little as $199 a month, or get 2.9% financing with complimentary maintenance included. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Well, we haven't even arrived at Halloween yet, but it's never too early to prepare for Christmas, right? And the White House has just selected its tree for the big day. This official 2017 White House Christmas tree is coming from Shawano County, Wisconsin. Sharon Bajenda shows us the selection.
Jim, Diane, and David Chapman of Silent Night Evergreens will present the tree to the first family for the third time. The Chapmans won the National Christmas Tree Contest last month, but are getting some help because of height requirements from Hanauer's Christmas Tree Farm in Shawano County.
It's a gorgeous tree. I mean, it's not one of our trees, but I have tree envy when I see it because I couldn't do any better. And nobody could do any better.
The tree will be placed inside the White House Blue Room, which is known as the feature tree of the White House.
Today really marks the first day for Christmas at the White House with us, and I just want to thank Jim and Diane and David for their incredible support, and we're very thankful to be in Wisconsin.
White House officials picking a 19.5-foot balsam fir to be the 52nd tree presented by the National Christmas Tree Association.
It's really something special for the holidays, and the fact that we have a product that's sustainable, it's natural, it's beautiful, and we're replanting it all the time. We really like to encourage families to celebrate that the same way the first family does.
A horse and wagon will deliver the balsam fir to the White House on November 20th.
All right, let's get back to the kitchen now, and John is there with Chef Eddie Izeri from Mediterranean, what is it? Apollonia Grill. Sorry.
Yep, Apollonia Grill. Oh my gosh, Eddie, it smells fantastic.
It does. Smells really
smells
good.
Great. Oh my goodness.
You must like garlic then.
I do like garlic.
Yeah, I do.
I've never met a dish I didn't like that had garlic in it. So what are you cooking up here again for us today?
Today we'll be doing a chicken pesto pasta. It's one of my favorite dishes.
I love pesto.
It's very simple. I'm sure there's many different recipes. This is how we make it at the restaurant, and it's always really good. It's one of those dishes that you never get tired of, even though it's simple. And
a crowd favorite.
It is. It definitely is.
Okay.
So we'll get started. I got some a hot pan here. Yeah, it's getting hot. A little bit. Let me put a little bit more heat on it. So we're going to start up with some chicken. This is sliced very thin chicken breast. This cooks on the pan, and it will cook all together in here. So you want to slice it thin and small. And that's part of our presentation as well, which we'll see in a little bit.
Okay. So it being thin, I should imagine a very, very hot skillet, and you cook it up very, very quickly. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and I got two going on. They're both in different stages of the recipe.
Okay.
Because this will take a little bit longer than 4 or 5 minutes when we get here at the studio.
So you tossed in a little garlic there.
A little bit garlic, a little bit onions, and you want to cook this till the onion and the garlic is fragrant, which we were smelling here just a little bit ago.
Smells so great.
And really quick, let me just add to this recipe a little bit of heavy cream, and then we'll get to this other one.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our chicken, we got our onions, we got our garlic, and then we're gonna add, it needs a little bit more olive oil, it's a little dry. And then I'm gonna add some mushrooms to it. Now you wanna cook this down a little bit, but I'm sort of hurrying up to show our viewers.
TV time and all that.
That's right. So,
normally, how long would you cook that?
I would say another couple minutes,
Okay.
just so the chicken's getting a little bit of color and the onions and the garlic is really becoming soft. We got some sun-dried tomatoes, sliced thin. That's gonna give us some
oil,
earthiness.
or do you use the dry cure?
Dried's fine. Okay. And then we're gonna add some chicken stock to it. You could add wine to it, but the chicken stock really builds more flavor and just really adds to that dish, the flavor of the dish.
And then the magic ingredient.
And then we got some basil pesto right here. So we're gonna mix that all very good. So you wanna cook this down just slightly, maybe about a couple minutes or so.
And tell folks again what a pesto sauce is.
Pesto sauce, it's made with fresh basil, Parmesan cheese, and pine nuts. So it's a basic recipe with a little bit of olive oil, and you blend everything together. Just use it on breads. You could use it on pasta.
It's fantastic.
On pizza, on many different applications. And we got some heavy cream, so I'm going to move this out of the way.
Okay.
And we can add the heavy cream to this one. We've added the pesto. We've added everything to it. The only thing it needs to cook down a little bit, so it's it cooks down and it gets creamy and thicker as it's cooking.
So
and then,
normally at this stage you would give it how long? Say maybe
I would say
10 minutes, that long?
No, maybe less than that, about 3 to 4 minutes.
Oh,
I would
that's
say.
it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's a pretty quick dish. And I'm going to add the pasta to it right now, and then we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. Now, Parmesan cheese, add it as you go along little by little, because it also thickens the sauce, and you don't want the sauce to be too thick. So I got some Parmesan cheese I'm going to sprinkle on the pasta right there, and then try to mix this very well and cook it down just so that way the pasta gets coated well. A tip that I could give you about the pasta is a lot of recipes have olive oil in the water when you cook the pasta.
Yep.
I think you should skip that, because the olive oil actually prevents the sauce from sticking to the pasta.
Sauce would just slide right off.
Yeah, so you want to skip that. So just a little bit of water and salt in it. That's how you cook the pasta.
And after that's all done, do you garnish it with anything, or does it go right on the plate like that?
Recipes like this, which are very simple, it's all about the execution.
Okay.
So I'll show you how to garnish this.
All right, while you're garnishing that up, I'll remind everybody that the recipe for this is on our website, mysuncoast.com. You just go there, click on the dining link page, and the video instructions are right there. Oh, I see. You're giving it a little bit of a twirl.
Right.
I see. So that it plates up. When you twirl it on the fork, lay it on the plate, and then it ends up looking kind of like that. It's got that kind of almost kind of like a strudel look to it in a way. Kind of, a little bit. Yeah.
So you can just grab your chicken, your mushrooms, and just kind of lay it on top and drizzle all that sauce. And then once you get everything up there, you can sort of play around with on the side of the dish.
Doesn't that look good? Chef Eddie from the Apollonia Grill, that looks absolutely fantastic. When they come into your restaurant, what do they ask for?
Chicken pesto pasta.
There you go, chicken pesto pasta. Say that 10 times really fast. Eddie, thanks very much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, AND services.com.
Rose takes her volunteering for Tidewell Hospice very seriously. But she knows how to have fun, too. And that's what she brings when we're invited to visit patients as part of Tidewell's pet therapy program. People love to see her. She really brightens their day. She makes people smile. And in end-of-life care, a smile can be a wonderful gift. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
The kitchen is where life happens. Minnesota Flooring now offers a wide variety of beautiful quality craft-made cabinetry to make sure the heart of your home reflects your style. Visit us today at our new kitchen and bath cabinetry locations.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
It's no small wonder anybody loves it all.
I just love art that moves me.
No small,
I mean, really moves me.
wonder.
Sunset Fiat of Sarasota presents No Small Wonder. High performance style. Let the art of Fiat move you.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, AND services.com.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. Governor Rick Scott emphasizing today his phone number is not a replacement for 911. Following Hurricane Irma, 11 nursing home residents died when a tree knocked out power to the facility's air conditioning system. Now it appears Governor Scott reportedly deleted 4 voicemails from the facility that he received at least 36 hours before the first person died there. But Governor Scott says even a child knows to call 911 when faced with an emergency.
I'm disgusted with what this facility did. My heart goes out to the 11 family members of those 11 that died. But for them to make a conscious decision not to call 911, which they did, to make a conscious decision not to evacuate, which they did. There's a hospital with power right across the street, and they didn't do it.
Scott says the owners and operators of the facility have not offered an explanation or defense for the deaths of the elderly people, and he's taking aggressive action to suspend their license and remove them from the state's Medicaid program. More than 1 million Florida homeowners and renters have registered for federal assistance following Hurricane Irma. The Florida Division of Emergency Management says the daily number of applicants is steadily increasing. At least 9 counties each had more than 50,000 people register for individual assistance. A FEMA spokesman says everyone who feels they may be entitled to assistance should apply.
You may be able to get assistance from FEMA whether you have insurance or not. Every household is handled on a case-by-case basis because everyone's exact situation is unique. So registering with FEMA will get you into that process.
The easiest way to register for FEMA assistance is by visiting the website disasterassistance.gov or using the FEMA app on your smartphone. And if you have questions that you want to ask a FEMA representative in person, you can do so by visiting the Venice Community Center. FEMA has a disaster recovery center open there now through tomorrow night. FEMA representatives are at the center to help people sign up for disaster relief assistance and answer questions. For those with damaged roofs, they can provide you with tarps and send an inspector over to see what needs to be done. FEMA has loan programs as well to help small businesses recover. And again, the center will be open from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. at the Venice Community Center today and tomorrow. And FEMA is hiring. The federal agency needs help to assist with Hurricane Harvey's widespread devastation. Nick Notario spoke with one man in Texas who's looking to get one of those jobs.
As Hurricane Harvey rolled through, this is what neighbors at this West Houston apartment complex saw out their window.
I was in Hurricane Sandy, but that was mostly just rain and a lot of wind. It wasn't floods, but it was frightening.
Calvin Cheek's mom lived at this complex. Weeks later, she's got a new apartment thanks to her son.
Just something with wheels and an engine. Just gotta get it moving.
He's not done. Cheeks wants to help other victims. This is why he applied for a FEMA job.
I think it's bigger than just whether you're a victim or a survivor, or, you know, you're living here in Houston or you're living up in Oregon. Everybody can help.
Right now, the agency says it needs workers to assist people from Corpus Christi to Louisiana.
The number of people we're going to need is obviously going to be very high. I mean, 258 people that are either on board or already in process, and we're still looking at a bunch more people.
Pay ranges from $13 to $40 an hour. Work could last for more than a year. FEMA needs all types of skills, including communication, engineering, and legal expertise.
There's a very wide range of skill sets.
I just got to do the cover letter.
Cheeks hopes to land one of those jobs after serving 8 years in the military.
I served in Afghanistan for a tour.
He's looking to serve once again.
I hope that things can get rolling so that I can do my part in helping FEMA to help people that have gone through this tragedy.
That's Nick Notario reporting from Texas. Well, Hurricane Maria leaving so much destruction across Puerto Rico that the governor there is now warning of a humanitarian crisis. The storm has killed at least 16 people there, and only 5% of Puerto Rico's electricity has been restored. The 3.4 million U.S. citizens who live there are suffering an unbearable heat without basic supplies. Much of the water is undrinkable. 80% of the crops have been decimated, and police are having to guard lines for gasoline.
I'm asking for your help in this. This is the biggest catastrophe in Puerto Rican history. If we don't get unprecedented collaboration from the federal government here, this could collapse into a humanitarian crisis.
President Trump announcing this morning that he will visit Puerto Rico next Tuesday. The White House is also expected to send a disaster relief aid request for Puerto Rico at the beginning of October, but many are concerned that will be too late. It is a dire situation there in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you read some of the tweets coming out of some of the people down there, and you know, food, water, medical necessities, dialysis. Tough situation.
Not everyone lives in the cities like San Juan, where maybe there's more access to that sort of need,
Most
that
don't.
aid. But yeah, just you saw those images of houses in the countryside.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And dysentery, of course, is a problem down the road, and you know, medical supplies. It's just a bad situation.
Yeah.
We are seeing here locally some very pleasant weather. Warm weather again today, though. Lakewood Ranch webcam put into motion shows a few fair weather clouds. Yeah, but you know, they're pretty flat clouds. Not a lot of loft to these, and that generally means that you're not going to grow clouds that'll produce rain showers. In fact, across the state of Florida, we have some dry air kind of capping off the rain shower machine, not allowing it to produce much. And of course, Maria, as we just mentioned, is kind of circling out there in Atlantic waters. It's helping to draw down some drier air for us as well, and we will continue to see, I think mostly over the next several days, fairly dry conditions for this time of year. Only put the rain chance at about 10%, and that's mostly for some inland storms. Daytime highs will top out near the 90-degree mark. All in all, looking at a very fine afternoon and a fine couple of days, but things will change as we head down the road, and we'll talk about when to expect the return of rain showers coming up in just a few. Back to you, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Disgraced former U.S. Congressman Anthony Weiner is heading to prison. The New York Democrat was sentenced to 21 months for sending obscene messages to a 15-year-old girl. ABC's Lindsay Davis has more on his reaction when he found out his sentence.
Mr. Weiner, any comment? Anthony Weiner, sullen and speechless, emerging from a New York City courtroom Monday where he was sentenced by a judge to 21 months in prison for sexting with a 15-year-old. The former congressman sobbing upon hearing the judge's decision. Only moments earlier, he told the judge through tears that he had hit rock bottom and was a changed man, saying, "I was a very sick man for a very long time." Weiner was hoping to avoid any jail time, looking for probation. His lawyers arguing that he's on his way to recovery and would not receive proper therapy inside prison. But the judge rejected that, telling the court Weiner has a sexual compulsivity disease and committed a serious crime that deserves serious punishment.
He may not be responsible for his disorder, but he was and is responsible for his treatment. And he did not get that to that soon enough, and he has hurt people as a result, and he must take the consequences.
Earlier this year, Weiner pled guilty to one count of transferring obscene material to a minor. His teenage victim appeared on Inside Edition earlier this month.
I just sent him a nice message just
hello, I'm a huge fan.
His texts range from, "Your body is pretty insane. I thought about you this AM," to this picture of him with his son. Weiner's sentencing is the culmination of a tumultuous downfall. In 2011, he was forced to resign from his congressional seat after he inadvertently tweeted a picture of himself in his underwear, leading him to admit to sexting with multiple women after initially denying his involvement.
Is that a photograph of you?
Here's all that I can do. Is that I said, let's try to figure out who, how, how this prank went down, how we make sure it doesn't happen again.
Lindsay Davis reporting there. Well, the Suncoast continues to grow, but during this growth, historians say we have to protect our historical treasures, which are a big part of what makes this a great place to call home. ABC 7's Linda Carson has more from Venice.
The house at 613 Venice Avenue takes your breath away. Current owners, Kurt and Tommy Whitaker, invited us in for a tour.
We're in the front hall. There are a lot of doors around here.
Yeah, there's a total of 16 doors on the front level here in the house, all to create cross ventilation, right, during the warm months. And this is the front door where guests would come in. They would come into the big hallway and then step down and through into that courtyard.
And straight ahead down the hall.
There's two more rooms. You're going into the living room, which is an original sunken living room, and then came what was considered a library.
The house was built in 1927 by the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers.
This house was supposed to be for a vice president, and then the stock market crash and the Great Depression. So the house sat empty for 3 years.
The first owner bought it in 1930.
The first owner was Fitzhugh William Hansel and his wife Florence Owen Hansel. And while they were Americans, he traveled abroad first as a young soprano singer, mostly in Italy, and then later, as he grew up and his voice deepened, he became a booking agency out of New York City.
His clients were top entertainers like Isidore Duncan and Caruso.
In his late 40s, early 50s, founded what was called Columbia Concerts Corporation, and that was a group of producers in New York City that came together to put on Broadway productions. And that group then got into radio and began to do productions for radio, and they ended up, at the end of the day, that turned into the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And although the family only used it as a winter residence, they had a staff of 4.
They had 2 live-in maids. The ladies wore French uniforms. We have photos of them. You had a chauffeur/butler, and you had a houseboy.
Tommy found amazing old pictures of the house in the attic. The house is large, over 5,500 feet. 1,200 of that is hallways. Despite its historical significance, it could legally be torn down. But the Whitakers are passionate about preserving and protecting it.
If we don't protect our history, just like a Polaroid, it fades away.
The house also has one of the first elevators in the area. It was installed when the house was first built back in 1927, and it still works today. Linda Carson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Hi, Linda, thank you. Coming up next on your Suncoast News, the NFL feud continues. We'll tell you which football player is apologizing to his team.
The Alfa Romeo Stelvio takes the modern compact luxury crossover and injects it with personality.
Every crossover should be this good to drive.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC 7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee County since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this.
Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-817-1064.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
I went in skeptical and came away impressed.
Stelvio can spring from a standstill to 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds, a segment best.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Looking at a warm start to the afternoon, dew point value at 73, so it still feels kind of sticky out there. Temperatures generally in the mid to upper 80s most everywhere you look. We have across the region some drier air that has filtered in. We're kind of down in South Florida at the cusp between the drier air to the north and a little bit more thick, moist air down to the south, called a shear zone, and it's often a location for some shower development and a thunderstorm or two as well. In fact, we've had some persistent ongoing thunderstorm activity down there since early on in the morning, so some pretty active down to the south. We don't have any of that in our neck of the woods. Our air is stable, it's dry, and we'll be looking at some pretty quiet conditions throughout the remainder of the afternoon, I think. Might see one or two showers begin to pop, mostly in inland areas, but radar this evening is going to look a lot like the radar right now, which is quiet. As far as the dry air goes, boy, it is very, very visible on our water vapor imagery. Again, a snapshot from space of where the moisture is, where it is not. Where it is in turquoise, where it is not is in this tan color, and it is not anywhere across most of the deep south and the Florida Peninsula particularly. We still have this kind of very weak, kind of ill-defined area of low pressure aloft that's helping to tunnel some of this moisture in across the state of Florida, or some of this dry air rather, and that's really preventing any kind of rain showers around. Plus a big ridge of high pressure to the north also kind of pushing that dry air down into our region. There is Maria. It's if you kind of look at it, you'll notice that all of the activity of this storm is on the Atlantic side of the eye itself. Toward the United States, it's really kind of broken up and diffuse and just barely hanging on to hurricane status as it lifts northward. I think we'll see it produce some rain showers and some gusty winds along the Outer Banks, but you know, really not much more than a good nor'easter would do as well. Storm surge with this is being computed at somewhere between a foot and maybe 2 feet in some locations, right along the Outer Banks, though, in areas that are kind of used to that sort of thing and built for that sort of thing. Otherwise, for us, the drier air is funneled in back behind the storm, and that leads to fewer storms than average for the next couple of days, warm afternoons, and mostly sunny skies. Here are the two, Lee and Maria. Let's take Maria first. This has 75-mile-an-hour winds, barely Category 1 status, and the forecast track, again, carries it right out into the open waters of the Atlantic. Not much controversy about that. The models are in good agreement. Same thing is true with Lee. Still a pretty good storm out here, you know, 100 mile per hour, 105 mile per hour, but moving in a direction that, again, takes it into the open waters as well. So neither of these storms a big problem for the United States. Forecast calls for a west-northwest wind at about 10 knots, 2-foot seas, light chop, nice day out on the waters. And over the course of the week ahead, dry for a couple of days, then we'll work some moisture back in and increase rain chances for the weekend. Scott?
John, thank you. A convicted Indiana serial killer has died in prison. Orville Lynn Majors was convicted of killing 6 people, but investigators say there may have been many more victims. The Angel of Death, as he was known, was a nurse turned serial killer. Majors was convicted of injecting patients in his care with a deadly amount of potassium chloride. A renowned electrophysiologist from Indianapolis blew the case open for police. He found a disturbing pattern in more than 100 medical charts while Majors was a nurse at the hospital. A pattern that proved suddenly and unnaturally the patients' hearts stopped.
For me, it was the hospital I was born in, and it was in the community that I was raised in, and so there were people that hated me for doing what I did, and there were people that were happy with what I did.
Orville was serving a 360-year sentence at a prison in Michigan City, Indiana. Autopsy results show the 56-year-old had cardiac issues and died of natural causes. President Trump is back on Twitter slamming the NFL, in one tweet even suggesting the league should set a no kneeling rule during the national anthem. This comes on the heels of the latest show of solidarity from the Dallas Cowboys taking a knee with owner Jerry Jones on Monday Night Football. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has more on what the president is saying and how people are responding.
This morning, President Trump taking on the NFL for the fourth straight day on Twitter, calling out the league, saying the only way out for them is to set a rule that you can't kneel during our national anthem. The president's tweets following this display of unity from the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals last night. The Cowboys, along with owner Jerry Jones, taking a knee before the national anthem, then standing up and linking arms for the Star-Spangled Banner with the Cardinals.
O'er the ramparts we watch.
The NFL commissioner later tweeting that was a great show of unity while fans inside
boos can be heard from this sellout crowd in Arizona.
And outside the stadium remain divided.
If you stand or if you kneel, do your thing.
If they had taken a knee during the anthem, I would have packed up my stuff after I was eaten and I'd be gone.
Across the country, some fans are even burning their gear in protest. And former Army Ranger Alejandro Villanueva now speaking out. He was the only Pittsburgh Steelers seen on the field at the beginning of the game on Sunday.
I feel embarrassed to a degree because, again, like I said, unintentionally I left my teammates behind.
And facing backlash from some fans, the Steelers owner released a statement today explaining that by not taking the field, the players were trying to stay out of making political statements, not boycotting the anthem. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
There's a new American Idol judge. We'll tell you who will be joining Katy Perry and Ryan Seacrest on the show coming up next.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Get the lowest prices of the year during the Ram Power Days event going on now at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Don't just settle for what's available at a smaller lot. Come shop the Suncoast's largest selection of Ram trucks. Get maximum cargo space and more comfort with a new Ram Quad Cab at rock bottom pricing. Or spread out in your spacious new Ram Crew Cab and save up to $10,000. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
It's Willamania at the Players Center as the Will Rogers Follies takes the stage September 27th. Part homespun humor and part Ziegfeld Follies, this toe-tapping Tony Award musical is the start of our wild Broadway series. So call the Players at 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. You need to catch Willamania.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential. There's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline. If you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death, you must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Big announcement from ABC's new American Idol. Country star Luke Bryan is joining singer Katy Perry as a judge. There's no word yet, though, on who will fill that third and final spot at the judges' table. But we do know Ryan Seacrest is returning as host as the show comes to life again, this time on ABC. The auditions are set to begin in the coming weeks. So look forward to that show coming back and here on our network. Also today, did you know, John, is National Pancake Day?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Should have made some in the kitchen today.
I'm right in line for those.
I think breakfast for dinner is a good thing to do every so often. So maybe tonight. Pancakes for dinner.
Why not?
Yeah. Have a great day, everyone. See you again at 5.